Hello and welcome back to the Fullerton College Pre-Press class. This is Professor Ben Hewitt, and today I'm going to show you how to take a board game board and make it printable on a normal size digital press. While of course the option, if available, is better to just print it in one large sheet on a large format printer. When that's unavailable, let me show you how to make it a little more bite-sized, something like a Xerox or a Canon would be able to actually run it on a more standard size digital sheet. First, let's take a quick look at how to check the size of these boards. By the way, credit where due, I found this board for download for free at boardgamegeek.com, a place that I may or may not frequent for personal reasons. Anyways, they have this so you can print out oversized Risk games and play it bigger, maybe with plastic army men or something. I plead the fifth. Anyways, there's two ways of telling how big this actually is. If you take your cursor and hover it in the bottom corner, you can see that it is a 48 by 24 inch board. This is a bit bigger than standard game boards, and I'm going to be shrinking it down a little bit. Sorry, scaling is the technical term. I'm going to be scaling it down a little bit for my use here, but it could be printed larger. Anyways, before I get myself lost in thought, here's the other method. Let me make sure I'm in the correct window here before I do this. And that's what happened last time. There we go, Command-Shift-P brings up the set page boxes. This lets you set up your crop boxes. Let me go over and show you what you're doing. This is an Acrobat. Your art box, your trim box, your bleed box, your outhouse, farmhouse, hen house, dog house. Wait, wrong movie. Anyways, this lets you change those things so the computer can recognize different amounts of bleed or crop and make the page smaller or allow extra space around it as needed. You can also fix client files here. However, today we're not really going to change the page sizes. We're going to just take a look at it. It tells you the cropped page size is 48 by 24. This is just another place to check it. All right, we're going to pause our video real quick while I jump over to InDesign. And like magic, like time travel, here you are in the other program, and you didn't even have to wait while I did all that. All right, so here we go. Over in InDesign, we're going to create a new document, and we're going to make the document 4 pages long for this one, because I know the ratio of height to width should be 4 pages. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at what we can do here. The page size is not going to be letter. I'm going to go for the maximum page that I know I can print on is 13 by 19. But if I want to have any bleed, it's got to be smaller than that. So I'll do a 12 by 18, and I'm going to do this in portrait orientation. Facing pages is a must for what I'm about to do, but there's going to be more that we have to do. Bleed. I'm going to run this right to the edge of the capabilities of the Xerox when I print this. So I'm going to make it 0.5, ½ inch bleed. And I will show you why in a minute, because in this case, bleed is not just about trimming off. It's about overlapping the panels and knowing where they line up when you actually assemble this thing out of multiple pieces. Okay, this is good to begin with. Recreate our document. If we zoom out, we can see we have 4 pages. This is not totally helpful. So let's go ahead and do a few things up here. If we go to the Pages menu over here, I have mine open. If not, don't forget it's under Window Pages to get it, or Command F12. A little hamburger menu up here. And if we go down through here, you're going to be able to see 2 things. Allow document pages to shuffle and allow spread to shuffle. We're going to take off the document pages to shuffle. And I'll show you what that does. Actually, let me show you what this does as a demo here real quick. Let's just go ahead and put a big number 1 on this page. There are faster ways to make that bigger. You know what, I hit shift, that is fine. The exclamation mark works good. You can see it also on the page menu over here. If the document pages are allowed to shuffle, when I move this around, it reorders where this page goes. You see how that's working? Whenever I move it, it doesn't look like much is changing, but it's putting it before or after the pages. I just click and I drag and I move the page to where I want. You can see it highlights the spot it's going to go and puts it where I want it. Now that's with it being allowed to shuffle. Being allowed to shuffle means wherever I move my page, it's going to displace the other pages and put it into a new spot in the page order. However, And this is cool. This is certifiably cool, guys. If you do not allow them to shuffle, check this out. You can glue the pages together and make the spread bigger. So if you're going to be creating a spread like this that wants to be multiple pages long, like a fold out in a National Geographic, or one of those cool airplane cutaway books that I like to read, where you can see all the inside parts of the wing and all the components, and it folds out, folds out, folds out. This is a way to make those kind of fold out things, because you can still have other pages. I mean, as a sample, whoops. If that goes there and then these go here, you can have regular pages and then a 4-page spread and then regular pages in this. It's kind of a fun thing. Undo it back to where I have all of them together. I'm going to delete this, double check my page size as 12 by 18. Okay, height is 18. And I'm going to go ahead and bring these in. I think, by the way, it may not be exactly what I thought it was going to be. So let's just go ahead and do a Command D or a file place, which is going to place in our file. I moved it. Sorry to make you watch me do this. I promise I am fast because my management is good and I know where I put things. There we go. Open. It's going to read the PDF. This may take a second because it's big. There you go. You can see on my clicker that my whole thing is there. If I click here, it's going to be huge. Let's do a quick thing just to make sure. Let's go back to typical display because otherwise we're going to spend all day doing that. So this one is actually almost full size here. I'm going to shrink it down. It's probably only going to be a little about 3 pages. There we go. Yeah, so I'm actually going to get rid of my 4th page because it's not the right. I got my proportions wrong in my head. So if I scale this correctly here and I do the measurements, this now fits on multiple pages. You may want to scale it differently slightly or change the proportions. Again, I did not actually measure this properly. Truth be told, I just wanted to show you this function. A properly done job would have measured and allowed for things like how big you want that to be. Cool. So with this all set, if I do an X, I can hear you guys chiding me. First, we're going to save. And I will save it back in my proper spot here. Never said I could type well. There we go. And if I export this as a PDF, print, we'll go ahead and drop this in here. Sample board, save. Press quality is good for this one. Marks and bleeds, use document bleed settings. And crop marks wouldn't hurt us, would they? And we say export. It's going to take a minute. And we're going to go over here. And we're going to find our board. Oops, you know what? Let me share to the board that it made right here. And we'll open this up here. Make sure this is sharing the correct thing. Let's go to Acrobat Pro again, share. Command 0 to fit it in the page. You can see that we have a page here. If you zoom in on the corners, you can see where the crop marks live. And their natural habitats up in the corners. Crop marks are there, shows you what's going to get cut off. I know I didn't do a great job on setting this up. But as you scroll through the pages, you can see now that we parsed this out over 3 pages. And if you look very closely, you'll notice, especially up here in Greenland, you have to say that like Vicini, you can see that Greenland is split over the 2 pages. That is intentional. With that extra ½ inch of bleed, although we're going to cut most of it off, if we don't cut the parts where they overlap, those ½ inches are going to allow us to line these pieces up and put them on top of boards beneath. Because, spoilers, it's best to build a board game as a separate sheet that gets attached to the board because it's not possible to print nicely on thick chipboard that most boards are made on. So you print on nice paper or adhesive label paper that then gets affixed or adhered to the board underneath. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful to those of you thinking about working with boards. Have a good one, and we'll talk again soon.